आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद देवेंद्र भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टों विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद देवेंद्र भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। स्थान फाउंडर आचार्य देवेंद्र प्रभुपाद की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री नवदीप धाम की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथ क्षेत्र नीलाचल धाम की जय। गंगा जमुना माई की जय। महारानी की भक्ति देवी की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। एक्सीडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very happy to see you all and meet with you all. And so I was reading on Back to Garden magazine just a couple days ago. There was an article, Simple Living and High Thinking, by Vishaka Devi. She is the temple president in England and Ghana. So it really inspired me that I should speak about simple living and high thinking. Because Prabhupada also many times he was quoting about this. So what does it really mean? So we will get in about that. So this is one of the principles that Srila Prabhupada considered essential for our survival of human civilization. The principle of simple living and high thinking. The principle is not merely devotional advice. It is not restricted to temple living. It is our ashram living, universal Vedic solution to the crisis of modern society, socially, environmentally, psychologically, and spiritually. So that's the solution to many problems of life. It could solve if we live simply, and high thinking is Krishna conscious thinking. Srila Prabhupada often said that Krishna consciousness is not meant to be an artificial imposition, but rather a return to our natural condition. And our natural condition is one in which the body is kept simple and the consciousness is kept elevated. So there are very few requirements, and if we could fulfill that, and the rest of the time we use to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So what is the disease of the modern civilization? So Prabhupada often would say that modern civilization is misdirected intelligence. He would say that people are working very hard, but for the wrong goal. Prabhupada used to tell about an ass. He is loaded with so many weight class and bricks, and his master gives him a little grass, and that is available on the side without any more effort. So everything for our survival, it is already available, but we work so hard for unnecessarily things to collect and unnecessarily perturb our mind. So Prabhupada explains a modern man is like an ass. He works day and night under strain, pressure, anxiety, competition, believing that this struggle is progress. If they are very busy day and night, they feel it is a struggle that I will be uplifted. While nature already provides the necessities of life freely under God's arrangement. God's arrangement, there from a hand to an elephant, so why He will not provide us? It all depends on our destiny, on our bhagya, on what. So whatever is there that we have done in the previous life, you will get it. Whether you make an effort for it or you don't make an effort for it, or you will get that. So Bhagavatam defines what is the success that Bhagavatam says that human effort should be aimed towards Srimad Bhagavatam, Kamasya Mendriya Priti, Labho Jivit Yavatha, Jivasya Tattva Jigyasa, Nartho Yas Cheha Karmavihi. Life's desire never be directed towards sense gratification. one should desire only healthy life or self-preservation. A human life is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's life, work. So our desire, most of the problem is that we desire so much and then we go behind all the desires to fulfill those desires. Whether we can fulfill it or not, those are unnecessary desires. And if we live simply, those unnecessary desires would not be there and we could live without making so much effort. Prabhupada explains that eating, sleeping, mating and defending, they are required, but only to maintain the body as a vehicle for self-realization. When those activities become the goal of life, civilization collapses. This word alone can give a course of reflection. Bhagavatam does not say we should not eat. It does not say that we should not.
Prabhuji, people cannot hear in the back, so you have to speak in a mic, you know.
Okay, I will try my best. Okay. So Bhagavatam does not say that we should not eat. It says that we should not live to eat. Live to eat is different than we should not eat. And so we are living as if for our eating. It does not say that we should not work. It says that we should support tattva jigyasa, inquiry into the absolute truth. Athato brahma jigyasa. Because we have a human form of life, and now should inquire into the absolute truth. What is the purpose of this human life? Why we are here? What is our relationship with the Supreme Lord? So we should talk on that line rather than how I could eat, how I could sleep, how I could have sex and defend ourselves. That is done by all living beings. Human being is the only species in life who could inquire about the absolute truth. And Srila Prabhupada strongly rejected the idea that simple living means deprivation or backwardness. He would say that Vedic culture is the most intelligent culture because it understands what is essential and what is unnecessary. And we should discriminate by our intelligence whether is it pleasing to Krishna, is it any worthwhile what I am thinking, what I am trying to do. Will it please Krishna or it will not please, and is it necessary for me, for my progress in spiritual life. Prabhupada says in one lecture, you require a little food, little shelter, a little cloth. Why are you complicating life unnecessarily? My glasses are left in India. Sometimes I have to stop to just look at it more carefully. Is it you turn on these lights? Or it doesn't work?
No, it's not working.
Okay. He would often point out that even animals arrange their lives very simply, without universities. They don't go to university, industries, or technology. They are modern men with all this advancement cannot sleep peacefully. They have to take some pills to sleep. To wake up, they have to take something. So this is because desire has become unlimited, while satisfaction has disappointed us. So Krishna's formula, yuktahar viharasya, yukta chetasya karmasu, yukta swapna bodhasya, yoga bhavata dukha. So there is no possibility for one to become a yogi if one eats too much or eats too little. He who is regulated in eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all muscle pains. So Prabhupada emphasizes on regulation frees consciousness. Once our consciousness is free to not be regulated, then we don't have to think what is our duty. Overindulgence binds us. Simple living is not about rejecting comfort, it is about avoiding slavery to the comfort. You have to buy a big car, a big house, all the amenities, but then it becomes almost like a slavery for the comfort. So, what is the root cause of anxiety? What anybody will say? Everybody is anxious, everybody is in anxiety. What is the root cause of that? Anybody will point out something?
Desire.
Huh?
Desire.
Desires. Okay. So desires to enjoy. So enjoyership is the root cause of anxiety. One of Srila Prabhupada's most frequent teaching was that misery arises from the false ego that I am the enjoyer. If you think that I am the body, let my senses be pleased and I will be pleased. But I am a soul would never be pleased by pleasing the senses. So Krishna dismantles this illusion through Bhagavad Gita 5:29. The living entity who understands me to be ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices. Bhoktaram yagitapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram shubhadam sarvabhutanam nijgyatvam shanti parichati. That Krishna is the real Bhokta. We want that we are Bhokta, we are enjoyer. But so Bhoktaram yagitapasam, whatever you do it for Krishna. Sarva, and he is the Sarvalok Mahayisha, supreme controller. We want to have controller, we want to have ownership. We want to enjoy our fruits of our labor, but this would not help us or give us peace. But Krishna is our sure well-wisher. Even if he punishes us, it is because of his well-wisher. Ultimate result is always good. So simple living naturally develops when one understands that Krishna is maintainer. High thinking develops when one understands that Krishna is the enjoyer. We are not. We cannot enjoy in the material world because it's a different atmosphere. Why it's not a spiritual atmosphere. We ourselves are a spiritual being, belong to the spiritual kingdom. But if you want to enjoy here and think that I will be happy, you cannot. Until death, you will not be. And then going through 8.4 million species of life just to fulfill our desires, what was left over. So King Rishabdev is teaching to his sons, Nayam Devo Deva Janna Loke Kaskan Kamana Keve Bhushaniye Tapodivim Putra Kayena Tasa Satvam Sudheva Yasma Brahma So Satyam Anantam. So in human body, we are not really this body, but body is not us. Body is that we try to fulfill our body's demands, that will not help. Our spiritual demands is to be in a spiritual atmosphere, like in a temple where sitting, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, taking prasadam, discussing among each other, taking. So body needs this. We means the soul needs some spiritual atmosphere. Like the tree needs water in the root, then whole tree would be green. Our fish needs water for its survival. So we need the spiritual kingdom or spiritual atmosphere for our being happiness. Otherwise we cannot be. So Srila Prabhupada often paused after reading this verse and asked, are we living like human beings or are we living like hawks and dogs? So that is the question he will ask to the people. That are we living like human beings? Human beings, they have to be Krishna conscious and in that atmosphere. Otherwise, we are like hawks and dogs. So agriculture, cow and real economics. Srila Prabhupada repeatedly taught the simple living of protection and agriculture. Both have to be done. Then only you could live simply. Prabhupada used to say, if you have 1 or 2 cows, some couple acres of land, you could grow and you could be very happy. That's why he opened some gaushalas and farmer communities, and so you have land and cows, you have no economic problems. Because we demand too much, we desire so many things, which is not really necessary. So modern people, they will criticize Prabhupada as well, that Prabhupada says that modern teaching or economics is cheating because it ignores nature and God, replacing them with artificial systems, and that collapses under their own weight. So Prabhupada, he envisioned in communities where food is grown locally, cows are protected, people chant Hare Krishna, and life revolves around the temple. This was not ideal in a temple outside, like your coming here, you could have a temple at home. So it is not idealism, it is the Vedic realization or realism. So Vedic, so we want to be culture, Vedic culture, but that you have to have cow, land. So Sudama Brahman, he was wealth beyond the measurement. He was poor, but he was living whatever way, but he lived, and then he went to see Krishna, but Krishna gave him so much. Krishna is not poor. If you are devotees, he will supply you unlimited supply. He is the husband of goddess of fortune. Lakshmi Shahasrasita Sambrahma Sevyamanam. Thousands of Lakshmis want to serve him, but he becomes purchased by law. So you could purchase Krishna. Krishna cannot pay your love, he goes behind you. And like gopis, na pareyaham. I cannot pay what you have done for me. So Sudama did not ask for anything, that is high thinking. So Jal Bharat, the freedom of detachment. Jal Bharat outwardly accepted, you know Jal Bharat. Who was Jal Bharat?
Bharat Maharaj.
Bharat Maharaj. In the next line, he became a deer. And then later on, when he saw that because I had some attachment of this deer, I wanted to have him with me all the time until death, he was thinking of him. So when he was born in a Brahman family, then he thought that if I go in the society, they will tell me so many things and I have to follow them, go to school, get married, get a job, have children. So he thought that he become deaf, dumb, dull, will not respond to anybody. He was asked, some Dakites, they came and they took him a sacrifice. He just went without even complaining why you are taking me or without any protest. So he went there, and so he was completely detached. But when the leader of the gang, they tried to sacrifice him, then Deity, that was Durga, most of this rogues and thieves and demons and asuras, they worship Durga. And so they were worshipping. So Durga, Deity bursted out and she took hold of the soul from this leader and cut off all their heads. So Srila Prabhupada explained that high thinking protects one from insult, fear, pride. A person who identifies as servant of Krishna cannot be defeated. So desire is our main enemy, like somebody pointed out. And Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna Samudbhava, Mahasano, Mahapapa, Videham, Eva Vedanam. So Kamesha, Krodesha, so many kamana, so many desires. Then if it is not fulfilled, you become angry. If it is fulfilled, you want more and more. The greed comes. These three are nothing. They are the doors to the hell. Kam, Krodha, and Lobh. And these are our real enemies. It is lust only, born of contact with the mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath. Wrath means angry, which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. Simple living, it starts our lust. If you want to control the lust, then simple living, you won't be lusty, and high thinking, it purifies our desires. So, simple living and high thinking is not optional, it is essential. Without it, chanting becomes mechanical, sadhana becomes burdened, and life becomes heavy. Srila Prabhupada gave us this principle not as poetry, but as life-saving medicine. Simple living. Dear devotees, we now continue our reflection on this most essential principle given to us by Srila Prabhupada, simple living and high thinking. A principle that is not merely external but deeply internal, shaping one's values, consciousness, and ultimate destination. You will have enough free time to chant or read the scriptures if there is a life is simple. Prabhupada would often remind us that the real problem of life is not economic, political, or social. The real problem is forgetfulness of Krishna. We forget Krishna, and that's why all the problem comes. And if we remember Krishna all the time, then naturally everything will be in our favor, and we will be able to get our real goal of human life, moving back home, back to Godhead. there were like asuras. If you know that there was churning of the milk ocean, and in this churning there were asuras on one side and demigods were on the other side. So they got the nectar, but somehow the asur side they took hold of the nectar. Then Mohini Murti came, and because of her beauty and her sidelong glances, and so the asuras were allured, actually they were attracted, and oh, she may be able to marry me, and they gave that part to Mohini Murti. Then Mohini Murti said, well, there is one condition, whatever way I do, I distribute to whomever I give, he would not say anything, any single word. So they could not really do, only the demigods got the nectar, except just one, this sun god. He came, was it sun god? He came in between, and Rahu pointed out that he's sitting there, this is the demon. Not sun god, it was Rahu. Rahu came from the demonic side to the deity side, and that was pointed out by sun. So he became enemy of the sun. So these both worked very hard. You have to realize that both were the same place, journey, and same strength and same goal, that we will get the nectar. So why only the nectar was got by demigods, not by the asuras? What was some ingredient that was in them, in suras, they were demigods, that asuras could not get that. If you are working same way, why it was possible? The answer to that is because they were depending on Krishna. That he will, so we have to depend on Krishna so much so that nothing is ours. Whatever maro we are, आपको भी है जो किच्छु इच्छित हो तुम्हारा. ये आश्रय सेवा पादर करके इसको मदर्शन मार मातों को यथा कथावा वेदना तो दंपतों को प्राणनाथ उसको सेवना. So, is Krishna depriving him of enjoyment? He is not. It is the most enjoyment of the soul. Enjoyment of the senses is temporary. Enjoyment of the soul is permanent. So if you could please our soul, means ourselves, we think pleasing the senses, that's flickering, it goes away, at the most it may remain for 100 years, but it has to go, and then we have to take so many lower animals or insects or mosquitoes or whatever. So why not to please Krishna? And if he's pleased, everything what is necessary, that we get it. And not only that, if our desire even to eat some, say, chocolate, remains at the end of that, then you will be born again. So it should be complete surrender, not just partially, but everything should be used for Krishna. Used for Krishna means mind, body, words, possessions, everything should be meant for Krishna and should be used for Krishna. See Prahlad Maharaj, high thinking and more purely than Prahlad Maharaj. So he exemplifies this high thinking and surrendering. So fearlessness that comes through simplicity. He was simply dependent on Krishna, and Prahlad was only 5-year-old living in the palace of the most powerful materialist in the universe, Hiranyakashipu. Yet he was completely detached from luxury, fear, and false prestige. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Sadhumanyam Pravarya Dehinam Saga Samudvegna Dhyam Asabraha Hitvatma Atam Gramanda Kupam Vanam Gato Yad Dharim Ashayet. So this was when his father was asked that, so he said that Prahlad Maharaj answering to his father, he asked 2 or 3 times, putting him on his lap, and he asked him, what did you learn? So one time he said that I learned Shravanam Kirtanam Vishwanoda Bhakti. One time he said that whatever that where your strength comes, he said where your strength is coming, my strength is from there. And they said that another time he said, oh boy, best of the asuras. I think that the best thing for people who are always anxious due to accepting temporary material things is reality, is to give up their blind well of household life and go to the forest to take shelter of Hari. So it's not that he's denying or he does not want that anybody should be in household life, but household life without Krishna consciousness, household life that both are going in a different direction, then that is proper. Otherwise, it's like a blind well. Blind well means underneath means it's covered by some grass and some trees, and but it's when you go down, there are snakes, there are on the upper top side there may be lions or somebody would give us that we are ready to eat you. So one should this grasp life is like a blind man, and there is always suffering. And so simple living means freedom from blind attachment, and high thinking means taking shelter of Lord Hari in all circumstances. So what is blind attachment? Attachment has to be there, the love has to be there. Or one should not feel that without this, I cannot survive. So many things are there, but without other than Krishna consciousness, we cannot survive. We cannot be happy. So one has to become Krishna conscious and not blind attachment. Like sometimes some children and mother, they are there and he will go everywhere, like as if she wants to put on in her uterus or back again, and that kind of should not be there. It should be, you love him, you give him whatever is needed, and let him do his own. Everybody walk separately, have separate background, and let them do their own way. So when they are ready to do it, with a little child, that's fine, but you cannot go on for 6 years, 5 years. You should be, whatever he is asking you do it, but not continuously following him. So that's some of doing a condition of constant anxiety. Asagraha. So Srila Prabhupada would often say material life means anxiety, spiritual life means no anxiety. Vaikuntha, Kuntha means anxiety. No, spiritual life is no anxiety. In material life always there is anxiety. Why? Because material life depends on things we cannot control. Simple living reduces dependence, and high thinking increases surrender. High thinking means thinking of Krishna consciousness, that is high thinking. And simple living, that means we reduce dependence on so many outer things. So Narad Muni's instruction, he was giving Narad Muni instruction, Yudhishthira Maharaj, on the dangers of unnecessary accumulation. Just as a deer are illusioned by mirage, living entities are captivated by hope or happiness based on body, children and wife and home. So you know all this deer that he is very thirsty, he is being on the desert, and because of the reflection of the sun and the sand, there is as if it looks like water. So he runs. But then again the shadow goes further down. He runs because very thirsty, and at the end he dies because of the thirst and running. So we are also running for material things, and ultimately we succumb to death because those things which is not in your destiny, you will not get it anyway. So why not use the time in culture of Krishna consciousness? So this is the illusion of security. Srila Prabhupada would say that modern man is building a skyscraper on a burning foundation, hoping for peace. Foundation is, there is a fire, and you make a skyscraper, and you think you would be happy, but that is not possible. Maharaj Ambarish, power without attachment. Maharaj Ambarish, you have heard that, he had how many children? Anyway, there was Rishabh, they had 100 children. But Maharaj Ambarish, he would depend on Krishna, he was the king of the whole planet, and Sudarshan Chakra was kept by Krishna for his protection. And Durasa Muni, he did not wait for, he just took some water एकादशी के पारण के लिए टाइम में to break the एकादशी. Then devotee said that you could just take little water. But then Durasa Muni knew by his special power that he took something, means water, without my permission, without giving me. So he became very angry. He took the hair out and then tried to burn this Kratya bar out of it. And Kratya was going behind, but Kratya, the Sudarshan Chakra came and burned the Kratya. So Kratya was not, and then Sudarshan Chakra went behind Hasamani. Hasamani was going to Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, and so Vishnu Bhagavan told that you go to Ambarish Maharaj. So he said that I am sold to my devotee. I cannot do anything. So Aham Bhakta Paradino, he is Swatanta, he was Vijay. Anyway, I am not free. Since I am sold to my devotee, so you go to him. So he went there. He is always like using all the senses to be used. What Krishna has given us some senses, working senses and Gyanendriya and Karmendriya. So everything should be used. That is really devotion. Devotion comes by association with pure devotees, but also you have to use your senses for service of the master of the senses. And that way Krishna would be easily pleased. So Maharaj Ambarish engaged his mind in Krishna, so to speak, his words in glorifying the Lord, his hands in cleaning the temple, and his ears in hearing about Krishna. Sarve Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo, Vacham Sikweto Gunana Manane, Karor Hare Mandir Madhana Adishu, Shruti, Sakara, Rasya, Satodaya. So this is high thinking in action. So Rashikesha, Rashikena, Sivanam Bhakti, Uttama. Rashi means senses. And Kesha or Isha means is the master of the senses. Ishvara means the master. So you, master of the senses is Krishna, and he used his senses in service of the master of the senses. So if you use, that is very easily Krishna is pleased. Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that Ambarish Maharaj did not renounce responsibility. He renounced false proprietorship. That I am the king, this all belongs to me. So that proprietorship should not be there. Everything belongs to Krishna. Isha Vashim Vidal Saram Priyatini Jagatyamina. Everything belongs to Krishna and should be used for his service, not should be used for our senses. If Krishna's senses are pleased, we will automatically be pleased. Why? Because we are part of Krishna. If we are the part, so naturally our heart will be happy. And we want to happy, then let Krishna be happy. Just like you water the root of a tree, not that you give water on the branches and leaves and fruits and flowers. And so that is the way that Krishna is made, that we serve Krishna and we want to be happy. He wanted to re-spiritualize society. He wrote in a letter, our philosophy is simple, living in high thinking, not that we complicate life unnecessarily. So Prabhupada like simple food, honest work, that is his formula, that you work on it. And spiritual education, God-centered the culture, so Krishna should be in the center of our life. In everything. Means we should never think that I am the Lord. Everything is done by Krishna, by modes of material nature. He awards that modes. And then we act, so work is done by the modes of material nature. But we think that I am the Lord. And that is the wrong thinking. Krishna is doing everything, just like a puppet. We are like puppets. And these strings are these three strings. Mode of goodness, patience, and ignorance. So Durga is pulling them, but Durga is directed by Krishna. In this way, we are fully under control of Krishna, but we don't think that. So anything you begin or you are doing, always think Krishna. That he is doing. Everything, wherever you are, even in a dirty place, you could think of Krishna, and Krishna will protect you. There will not be any harm to you. Nobody can come in front of you to harm you if Krishna's name is there. There are many illustrations about that. We are thinking the illusion of progress. So Prabhupada was saying they are flying in the sky, but they cannot stop death. So modern civilization celebrates progress, but progress without God it leads to nowhere. So simply they don't want to give any credit to Krishna that he has done so much. His name, but they think it is all mythology. Krishna may be some figurative or you have made it up, but that is the real. So simple living confronts us with morality, and high thinking prepares us for eternity. So if we think of Krishna, then we are eternal being. As a soul, we are eternal being, and we could live only in eternal atmosphere. We cannot be happy in temporary atmosphere. So detachment does not mean it is not a neglect. One common misunderstanding is that detachment means neglect. Srila Prabhupada strongly rejected this. He talked about yukta vairagya, proper renunciation. So everything, whatever you have, it is meant for Krishna's glorification, for service to Krishna. Like your house, your family, your possessions, everything belongs to Krishna. And everything should be used for Krishna's happiness. Like say, if you have surplus, you use it for building temples, food distribution, printing books, so many ways, some kirtan. So to use everything, house, family, profession, everything is there, but it is used but for Krishna. This is the perfection of household life. The cow and mother. And the Prabhupada repeatedly emphasized cow protection is a pillar of simple living. He used to say that simple living would not be possible without cow protection. If you kill the cow, how will there be peace? The cow represents gentleness, nourishment, and gratitude. A civilization that exploits to mothers cannot be peaceful. Ultimate simplicity. What is the ultimate simplicity? We talk about simplicity, but what is the ultimate simplicity? Anybody would point out something?
Doing devotional service.
Yeah. Particularly in devotional service, there are many ways that you could do devotional service. Like you are coming, mopping the floor. But what part of devotional service? Chanting, who said that? Yeah, right, thank you. So chanting is the ultimate simplicity, that if you chant, Krishna will arrange everything. And that is the highest process. Practice is chanting. Chanting itself is a service. One should not think that I am wasting my time in chanting. No, that is not a waste of time. That is real utilization of time. And that is also like you are using your tongue, mind, but time. But chanting is the service to Krishna. Chanting is that service something different. Like you make bhoga for Krishna, that is also, but chanting is the best. If you chant, then you are in the right situation. It purifies the heart and completely. This is high thinking. It's the purest form of high thinking. It's chanting of the name, because Krishna will be on your tongue. And so we repeat, Prabhupada repeats many times. He's saying that this thing, and so repeating the same teachings again and again, not because they were shallow, but because they were deep and essential. So he wants to give many verses that he will repeat. Simple living, high thinking must be heard repeatedly until it becomes an instinct, just not at once. So dear devotees, human life is short, consciousness is fragile, time is merciless, it could kill us at any time. So now it is the time that we have Atha Brahma Jigyasa. Now we have the human life, and we should use this human life for Krishna. And we must ask ourselves, are we simplifying our life for are complicating them? Are we raising our thinking or distracting it? Srila Prabhupada gave us the key. It is now our responsibility is to use it for Krishna. So if we simplify our life, Krishna will simplify our problems. If we raise our thinking, raise to Krishna consciousness, Krishna will raise us to his lotus feet. And so he will take us to his lotus feet. So let us honor Srila Prabhupada not merely by quoting him, but by living his vision. So he is vision of simple living and high living. If there is any comments or questions, anybody have any? Vishka Mataji wrote very nicely, but I could not find the message. They are just 2-3 months ago. Just came in my hand and she wrote a nice article about simplicity, not simpleton. So that was a heading. I could not find it. Back to guided magazines, recent magazines are not in the computer either. So I could not find it. That's better from different sources. So, anyone has any comments or questions? So please live simply and simple living is unnecessary desire should not be very high and our desire should be to please Krishna. And high thinking is to always remember never forget. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, let's thank HG Samik Rsi Prabhu for a wonderful class on simple living.